Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Ripe for Reissue. Well, earlier on in this series, I made a plea. I begged, I pleaded, I carried on. I did everything I could to ask RCA to reissue the big Toscanini edition, which never, ever, 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 ever should have gone out of print. And in the meantime, they had released bits, dribs, and drabs, little collections of things, but those are going now too. I hope I don't need to explain to them that Toscanini is one of the most iconic, important, significant conductors ever to have lived, and certainly to have made recordings. Remember, this is a guy who was born in the 1860s and lived to make recordings until the 1950s. I mean, he is a living avatar, on the one hand, of what some might call the historical performance tradition, but on the other hand, somebody who created his own. I mean, it's an interesting question now, historically, because we're all into, what performing styles were and whatnot. But when you've got a guy who was essentially ripe and fully formed by the 1880s, who did premieres in Italy of Verdi and Puccini and all of these people, knew those composers and was a contemporary of Brahms and all of that stuff, and who lived to make recordings just about until the stereo era, that really tells us something, doesn't it, about historical significance, never mind artistic quality. I mean, his artistic quality was unbelievable, extraordinary. And so Toscanini's recordings are a document of the utmost importance, both historically and, because of their often amazing quality, artistically. So in this case, I'm only asking a little favor. Just a teeny tiny favor. Toscanini conducts Beethoven. Why is this not available? Now, there are several Toscanini Beethoven cycles around. I mean, this is the official Toscanini Beethoven cycle, but there are individual performances that we've talked about, including that legendary New York Philharmonic Beethoven 7th from the 1930s or 20s or whenever it was from, and a bunch of other things besides. And I do not want to get into a discussion. I'm warning you in advance of which Toscanini Beethoven is better than the other Toscanini Beethoven. I don't care. That's not the point of this video. Don't go there. I'm telling you right now. I don't want you to mention any other Toscanini performance other than the ones included in this box. Are they the best? Are they the worst? Did he do better elsewhere? Was there a performance someday that someone caught on a radio broadcast? Maybe, who cares? Not the point. The point is that on the whole, and in general, Toscanini's way with this music was extraordinary. It was a landmark in Beethoven interpretation. All of it. Even when he was off, because he was sometimes. I mean, there were wide fluctuations in his performance styles from one performance to another. That's really one of the great myths in recorded music, that, in the Furtwängler versus Toscanini battle, that Furtwängler was this improvisational genius who, was never the same way twice. And everyone, it's not true. Furtwängler was mostly very consistent with his view of a work. Toscanini was not. Toscanini's changed a lot. But his style of conducting, that is the importance of the long line, his rhythmic tension, his unbelievable rhythmic tension, his handling of accents, his insistence on ensemble accuracy at all costs sometimes to his detriment. All of these things are audible in every performance he gave. So the point here is that the universe at large, the world of classical music, should never be without the opportunity to hear Toscanini's Beethoven cycle. And you also get the Missa Solemnis here, and the Egmont Overture, and some other goodies. I mean, that's it. It should never be without the opportunity to hear his way with this music. Whether it's the best or not the best. Actually, this does contain the best Eroica, the 1953 broadcast. So there. But still, it really is. It really is a remarkable thing that this is gone, and it's been issued 100 different ways. That's what makes it so crazy. You know, you had the big set, then there were at least three that if you look on Amazon, you'll see at least three different versions of this same Beethoven cycle, all of which were issued within a relatively short span of time. This is the cheap, budgie one. It doesn't have any notes, which is a shame. It doesn't have anything, particularly, careful or deluxe or exotic about it. When the Toscanini edition came out originally, the thing that came in the bookshelf, I still have the bookshelf that it came in, and it was issued at mid-price, and the Toscanini family went nuts. They were furious because they felt that Toscanini's recording should never have been issued at mid-price because that demeaned them. It should always be premium-priced product, PPP. And I sympathize with that, actually. I don't think that, the labels just began giving away their patrimony. I mean, it was wonderful for us. It's terrific. We could get it all on the cheap. So that was great. But still, I mean, it just never deserved that. I mean, and whether or not it's at the highest price or the middest price or whatever they want to do, there should always have been a loving and deluxe quality treatment. Speaking of it, somehow, you can issue something at mid-price and make it look nice. You can. This doesn't look horrible. It looks like everything else in this series. There's nothing special about the fact that it's Toscanini. But there should be, because Toscanini was indeed, whether you like him or don't like him, an extraordinary artist, and certainly one who should be one of those sort of focal points of any serious classical collection. You've got to hear some things that he did, and Beethoven is a great place to start. So, this is 6 CDs on RCA, and poof, where is it? God only knows. It's out of print. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't ever be. So, like I said, I tried for the big box, the big package. Now I'm starting smaller. I'm sure that there will be reasons to reissue Toscanini. Usually they claim there's some, miracle of remastering or something that makes it worth shoving out there again for at least 10 minutes. And hopefully you can grab it while you can. But no, come on. Just do your best. Stick it out there in a nice package. Sell it for whatever you damn well want to sell it for. And leave it out. Let people hear it, for heaven's sake. It's just absurd. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.